and welcome to... I don't know what the name of this podcast
Crap, we
is.
didn't think of an episode title.
Well,
I'll
Okay,
figure it out.
so
well, it's not a movie.
no, you know what?
Not a video
I had a
game.
really good idea, and I know this is probably used by something else, but really anything we do, like when we talk about like shows and movies, should really be called postscript because we're doing it after the scripted material, and then we have our unscripted chat about it.
Uh-huh.
Shit, that's good. It stays. Postscript Evangelion.
Postscript Evangelion. Neon Genesis.
Postscript Evangelion. Oh no! Yeah, I love.
Folks.
Oh man, that's kind of deep.
Folks, the sad anime with sad people and big robots that may or may not be freakishly organic, which is something we have to talk about.
We'll get to that.
It's on Netflix now.
Yeah, as of I think what Saturday, Friday,
Yeah,
Friday
last
it came to
Friday.
Netflix.
So it's hot and heavy.
It's here.
And-
The classic 1995 anime here in front of you on your favorite streaming service.
And we thought this would be a really interesting thing to record us like kind of watching this show because for some of us, namely Josh and Ray, have I don't know how many times you guys have seen it, but you have definitely both seen the series in its entirety. Is that correct?
I'll let Josh go first.
Yes, I think I have, including the movies, I've seen everything twice. It has probably been 10 or 15 years since I watched either of those run-throughs, but I have seen the entire series all the way through, and then the movies at the end as well.
I've seen the entire series once, with repeatedly going back to my favorite episodes. Same as for Josh. It's been about 10 years. Actually, no. That's incorrect. It's actually been like 15 years since I've seen the entire series the whole way through.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've seen all of the movies multiple times. Just several times. The movies hold up to me.
And for me, I have seen the 3 episodes I've watched, which is kind of where we decided to kind of talk about in this first episode of Neon, whatever this podcast is going to be called.
Postscript Evangelion.
Postscript Evangelion.
So before we kind of dig in, yeah, let's kind of touch on that. Is we're planning on here to do 3 episodes per episode to go through and discuss what has happened. So if you're listening to this, it's good to either have already watched the series or be current with the episodes that we are going through, because we will be spoiling things that happen in those episodes in discussion. We will do our best not to spoil anything in the future or hammer Mike in the head like, hey, did you notice this? Hey, did you notice this? Just because it's a first time for him and maybe a first time for some of you. So, kind of watch along with us as we go through 3 episodes per show. So this one we're focusing on 1 through 3.
So like, it's not my first anime, but I know very little about this series, other than it's a show with robots, and it has some typical kind of mecha tropes, but
That's all you need to know.
It gets weird, but I don't really know what that entails.
Oh, he's not ready, folks.
Really at all.
It gets weird, Mike 2019.
So I'm really excited to like kind of go into this because like I there are some things about the show that I've kind of absorbed through like just cultural osmosis.
Yeah.
But I think I've relatively been able to stay pretty spoiler free. And honestly, like, just kind of one thing I noticed from like these first couple of episodes, just like not even connected to any spoilers or anything. It's just like initially just like kind of my initial thoughts is just how well it like holds up. Like just from like a pure like art and direction standpoint, like the cuts are all super cool. Like when I think it's like at the end of episode 1 Like when they're just about to like jump into the like this fight, and it cuts to him in the hospital bed. This like
Yeah, like just a hard
like
he wakes up and he's in the bed and you're like, okay, what
like,
happened? He obviously didn't die, but
he didn't die.
Whoa.
Did
Let's save that till we get to the episode, since we're doing these in order.
But like that was good. I mean, just as like an example, like why I brought that up, it's just like a lot of like the direction and just like pure art stuff like that is still super I think is still like that hasn't aged at all. Like a lot of like in the way that like Dragon Ball has aged significantly, or like you can tell very much that it's like a made for TV kind of like we have to stretch this out to like make it last an episode type of deal. Evangelion is not like that. It is very like
there's a lot of care put into the art, and even in some of the horny framing, like there's a lot of thought put into the framing of each shot and the way that everything is positioned. Sometimes it's horny, but other times like it's really meticulously crafted to be impactful.
And I love so it's like a lot of that stuff. I mean, because that's the stuff like good storytelling never ages, and I'm like, I'm sure that there are things that will have aged. I'm very certain, especially based on like the type of things that this show is going into already thematically. I had just a feeling there are going to be some things I'm like, okay, that's a thing. In the future, I don't really know what, but
you guys want to?
But I think just like from a pure like art level, I think a lot of that stuff is like all the background art is super well done and good, and the show looks very expensive. I feel like it was a lot of money to make at the time.
I'll tell you more about that during the episode, but I think
okay,
we should hop into that.
Well, we can kind of go into like a basic plot rundown. So episode 1. I'm gonna try to remember, here. Let me give you what I remember from this. So there's a kid. His name is Shinji. He's in like a town that's kind of abandoned. Because eventually we learn that everyone's hiding from like a big monster thing called an angel. He's waiting for someone to come pick him up, and then the person who picks him up is the coolest character possible.
Well,
she's so cool. I love her so much. I want her to be my friend. Her name is Misato Katsuragi, and she's got the coolest car. She's got the baddest clothes. She drinks a shit ton. I'm like, I can relate to all of this.
Misato loves her malt liquor.
Yes, Misato is definitely someone I would like crack a King Cobra with and be like, man, that biomechanical death thing sure killed a lot of the city today, didn't it? And she's like, sure did. And that's
how much of her
rad.
Gotta love drinking away the pain and
wait,
suffering.
Question: do you guys have the episodes queued up, ready?
No, not in front of me.
Oh, go do that.
I'll have to set that up next time. I don't have Netflix logged in on this computer. Next time. Anyways,
damn it.
So they.
So for the setup of like plot 1, there's like a lot more to like the artistry of like Shinji just calling. I mean Shinji just appearing. So you get these beautiful shots of like this dystopia. Okay, hold on. We're doing a huge disservice to the entire series by not bringing up quite possibly the best anime opening ever, and how dare us not give
that theme song is a bop. I forgot to mention that. It's so good.
Cruel Angel's Thesis will never get old. That
Like, I was like, oh my god, oh this whips, oh my god, this is so
still
good.
holds up. I will admit, a lot of the love of Evangelion that I personally have is just because it hit me right in the teenage years, right when it came out.
I have a feeling this is a very coming of age story.
Oh, it's. I hope by episode 3 you saw that.
Shinji is right in that tween age.
That very much tween Hero's Quest, daddy issues, like all that merging into one.
That was going to be the next thing I was mentioning. We have some baggage here, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Holy moly!
Well, let's get to that. Let's go in order, though.
But so okay, and my takeaway from the episode 1, especially in this opening scene, is they really set the tone for just how powerful the angels are. In terms of, you start off with this line of tanks and all of this military equipment just unloading on this thing, which barely even flinches. Then you go into, in the military commanders of, the UN forces or whoever we see here, basically within the first few minutes deciding, within 5 minutes, we're already nuking the bad guy.
Can I Evangelion nerd out for a second?
Yeah.
So they're called N2 mines. They have the same power as a nuclear bomb, but they don't irradiate the land and make it unlivable. The N2 meaning nitrogen 2. It's a BS type of science thing, but it's a sci-fi anime series. We're going to let it slide. They needed a reason why they didn't irradiate the land around them.
Yeah, why the town is still livable after everything is completed.
Yeah, there you go.
But I mean, within that, again, within the first 5-6 minutes of the show, we have basically nuked the bad guy. The dust clears and he's still there, and we get a lot more information just about like, oh, hey, he's regenerating. Hey, he's getting stronger. Hey, he's learning tactics, and it's like, there's a lot.
This weird monster thing is just like cowabunga. It is fine, and it's not good.
No one no one's gonna bring up that they call the enemy an angel. Just gonna let that slide. All right, I'm gonna walk out the door.
I'm not gonna say that's some pretty. That's some foreshadowing, but like.
Not to mention that every time the angel shoots a weapon of some kind, the explosion happens in the shape of a fucking cross.
Yeah, we're just gonna ignore that.
Like, wait, just to, like, when I saw it, I'm like, it can't be that obvious, can it?
I mean, there's hitting the nail on the head, and then you're jackhammering a house roofing nail into the structure.
And then it's like, there's hitting you over the head with the subtext, and then there's someone hitting me in the gut with a chair and pile driving me into the subtext.
Yeah.
And I don't want to jump to any conclusions here, but I was just like, oh, when that thing shoots a gun, it blows up to the shape of a cross.
Yep.
That's kind of funny.
Yep.
But yeah, so then they get to the Shinji and Misato get to the facility. They take some super cool elevator.
What's the name of this facility?
I don't remember. I don't know. The place what got the robots.
Josh, if you will.
Nerve.
Oh, I don't like them.
So, I know Mike probably missed this, but they show it several times in the episode. Nerve actually has a subtitle underneath their company phrase, and it's, God is in his heaven, and humanity is happy. Something along those lines, I think I paraphrased. If you guys could see the take that Mike just did.
Uh-huh.
God is in his heaven, all's right with the world. That's the Nerve subtitle.
Is this just gonna have a JRPG
subtext?
God is bad plot twist? I have a feeling.
Is it a plot twist if they're banging you over the head with it?
Is it a plot twist if they're telling it to you in episode 1? I suppose not. I think that's just part of the story at that point. But honestly, I think Like, I think that's just a credit here to like the story itself. Like, I've seen 3 episodes of the show, but I'm like already like really sold on like the character drama part of it. So like I'm like, yeah, we'll learn like more about like the big bad dudes or whatever, but like I'm also like really engaged with like this the stuff they're doing with like Shinji alone. So so they get to the facility and then we meet Mr. Dad.
Mr.
Which
Dad.
is his real
Dad.
name. Mr. Dad. And
Josh,
boy,
you know
he
his name?
sucks. It's Mr. Dad, I just said.
It's
Did you is your mic working? Like do you hear
yeah, clearly his name is Mr. Dad.
It's Mr. Dad.
So it's Gendo Akari, and when he introduces himself to Shinji, he makes it very clear to the audience that he just does not care about his son. Like, the first thing he says is, you're gonna pilot that, when they introduce it, this giant purple robot. And I was like, oh yeah, hello to you too, Dad. I haven't seen you in 9 years. Whatever.
Well, he also at one point calls him like a spare is coming. Like he doesn't
Yeah.
like he at one point he says
Yeah.
they're talking about piloting the Ava, and they mentioned that the real pilot has been injured at some point, and he said, "Oh, don't worry, a spare's coming," referring to his son.
Never once in this episode does Gendo ever refer to Shinji as his son or Spawn, or that he's even related,
Yeah.
ever.
It's a toxic family situation.
Well,
It's not great.
again, Shinji hasn't seen his father in 9 years, and he gets a message from his father saying, "Come to Nerve Facility." And Misato says, "Huh? Why did he call you?"
I guess he called me because he wants me to. He wants to give me a hug, and it's like, actually, he thinks that you have some sort of supernatural like connection to the giant murder bot, and he needs you to get inside it,
Like right now.
or else this poor hospitalized girl will have to get inside the robot. I was like, well, why would they think that's a good idea? Who are these people?
Who are you? So if you we skipped a little bit ahead of this. The Nerves facility is, I think, in canon, like 1,000 feet underground, under a highly armored pyramid, and
They were on that elevator for a long time. That sounds right.
yeah, and the thing that they have, this giant robot, that's their purpose for their company, their facilities all existing. It's just to build this robot and to, as Gendo says in episode 1, when they find out the N2 mine didn't work, to destroy whatever it is out there. The Angel, they call it. And thus, everyone starts thinking, well, Shinji, are you gonna... This is the whole purpose. This is why this company's built. You're gonna get in that thing? And that brings us to about, believe it or not, 20 minutes into the episode. All this build-up, and for a giant robot anime, the robot hasn't punched anything yet. Unusual.
Yeah, it's great.
It's...
I think that's because like the episode ends with him like getting in the robot ready to fight, right?
Yes, he
Okay.
He hops into the...
And after they're like, he gets in the thing, and they're like, oh, by the way, we're filling with this goop. We're filling this with goop, but you'll still be able to breathe. And he's like, wait, what? What the fuck? I was like, guys, I know this is kind of an emergency, but you can't put goop in my body.
All up in his lungs.
Now, Mike Shinji would not have this.
Oh,
Like,
I mean, he was kind of locked in.
You gotta let me sign a form for this, like, beforehand. Like, you cannot just drop this on me. You cannot goop me without
goop me.
consent.
Don't goop me, bro.
You can't do it. Like, I don't. You can't just tell me there's oxygen in that. Like, what the? No, what? No. What?
What did you think of the scene where right before he gets into the robot, where the robot activates without command and stops steel girders from hitting Shinji up the noggin?
See, I was like, okay, that's a little. I was like, okay, that's, and they're like, and that kind of goes into some of this other stuff that we kind of get into in episode 2, where this, I knew that they were like big robots.
Mm-hmm.
There's some bad stuff happening here, Ray. I don't know if you know.
I actually do. I deeply know.
But that thing, that's a robot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's really a robot. It's not just a big mech. It's a dude.
Well, we can get in the episode 2 where that.
I want to talk about this right now. We have to talk about this right now.
I mean,
that thing is a dude.
I mean,
it's got eyes. It's got organic eyes.
No, we'll get to that in episode 2.
It moves. I'm getting to it right now.
Oh, no.
That's what we're talking about. It has eyes. It moves when it's not, like, powered on, which I don't know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I love how this is the freak out point for you.
You're going to get mad about this. I'm jumping to episode 3. It gets its hand burned in that episode. It has fingernails. It has thumbprints.
It does.
It's got a hand. Like, not a robo hand. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers. A hand. And I'm like, that's a big man. But it's a robot.
It's a robot.
And I don't know what to make of that. That's deeply unsettling.
I love how the fact that you're figuring out, and this isn't a spoiler because we're covering the first 3 episodes. I love the fact that the freak out moment is Mike figuring out their biomechanical. And that is supposed to be a big moment. That's kind of a small reveal in episode 2.
Yeah.
Because you see its eye reform.
Yeah, when
and
you see
it has teeth.
Because that was super cool. Because, like, I loved episode 2 was like what really sold me on the show. Because, like, he's kind of like in the hospital and recovering. And they're like, and that's when you go home to, like, Misato's apartment and see that she's just, and get to know more about her. And just like, hey, I just kick it and drink a bunch of beer. And I have a cool penguin who lives in my fridge, which is the coolest shit possible.
The last penguin in the world, by the way.
What? Oh, my God.
She says that. And I need to repeat that to anyone listening. That's the last penguin in the world. What?
That is so sick.
What happened?
I knew Misato is the best. Don't tell me there's a better character than her, because it's not. It's a lie. It's not true. She's the best.
Okay, I won't tell you there's a better character than her, because there is.
We'll see.
I mean, Evangelion's all about character building. It's not just giant robots. Some episodes have no robots in them at all. That's not a spoiler. That's just gonna happen.
That's great. Like, that's the thing. That's my big takeaway initially. Is just that, like, the robot fighting we did get, because we do get a little bit of it. We should talk about that next. Was great, but like I said earlier, I'm really into the characters here already. Especially Misato, because she's just cool. She's super cool. But yeah, so like in episode 2, he's kind of like recovering from this encounter. He's like they're trying to figure out where Shinji's gonna live, and while he's
well, let's go over the encounter. That there's a lot that happened there.
Yeah, one thing I thought was cool with like the angel design, how it has like that, like the weird like elbow like ramming rod thing, like that was just spooky, like really cool design thing. Like that was really wild, but like,
and something that wasn't really apparent at the beginning, and just
Shinji tries to make it go normally, and it doesn't. He doesn't really go.
Make the robot walk.
Out.
1 step. All right. 2 step. He's on his face.
And we learned that he fucked
you get that moment of like, hey, this might actually kind of work.
Some sort of super.
Oh, he can't make it walk.
Berserk mode.
How's he supposed to fight if it can't walk? And that's a really cool like freak out moment there.
Walk. This is going to be a long time
before
before
I think we temporarily lost Mike.
Him actually do anything.
Yep. His Discord is frozen.
It got scary.
Okay, anyways.
And he
So
went
in
nuts.
another part of episode 2 is when he's getting thrashed by said angel, and it's using that kind of that energy hammer coming out of its elbow to slam Unit 01 into the building. And then you see, as Mike was alluding to, the first reveal that it is a biomechanical weapon is that blood sprays out of both sides of its helmet. Like, oh, why does the robot have blood? And not just a little bit, a lot.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where
like,
they
right
kind
through
of
the face.
they kind of like allude to it, briefly talking about the Ava program and talking about this weapon that they've created. They use kind of like a biomechanical word, but like it doesn't really stick with you until you get that moment where the ramrod goes through the head and then just blood just everywhere, and you're like, oh no, like this is really like
Yeah.
organic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a rant about this. I ranted about this, and I'm like, I am deeply uncomfortable with the fact that this thing has a big old giant human ass eyeball and big old fingernails, and it made me worry deeply problematic. Is someone gonna fuck a robot?
I'm not giving any spoilers.
No one answered that. Oh no, this is not good. Oh no. Oh no. Anyways,
I know you probably glanced over this while watching, but it is important to kind of bring up because it'll keep coming up as it goes along. In episode 2, there's that giant roundtable discussion with a bunch of people you don't know. And they're
oh
talking.
yeah, like the color crew,
The Color Council.
Yeah.
the color council.
Yes. And they talk about this thing that will come up much. It'll come
Well,
up.
let's leave that one. I'm sure he heard the name of the project, but
Okay. Now, go back and watch it. I'm not going to say it out loud because, oh boy. Just keep in mind, you saw some people at a
It's-
table.
Yeah, because it seemed like they're definitely working on some like sort of. There's definitely some sort of like totalitarian like information suppression thing happening here.
Well, so they
you also-
spend like
you also-
4
you
minutes
just-
on
you
that
have
scene.
you have what, 6 men hologramming in talking to this, director of this Ava program, then talking about the Human Instrumentality Project. So obviously something is happening here with this governmental, non-governmental organization that is running this Ava program that is going on in conjunction with, side by side. But this is the first we hear about some sort of project that's going on beyond the Ava project that is currently, seems to be humanity's best hope against the angel that has since attacked.
What I want to bring up about that scene that's really important is when you're watching it, you notice Gendo, who's normally the guy that acts like he has the maximum amount of BDE for the room, like full on he has such a gravity when he's commanding the command center of angel attacks. Like the first 3 episodes that we watch, the 2 angel attacks that happen. We'll get to episode 3. But you'll notice that when he's sitting in the council room, he's very passive. He has to listen to these guys. I was like, that's really interesting that the commander of quite possibly the most powerful organization that we've seen, because who else controls a giant robot, is acting very passively at this table. Up. Looks like Mike bounced out for a second. All right, we're going.
Mike dropped again.
Oh, there's a part in episode 2 where Gendo and Shinji meet face to face in an elevator. And as opposed to Shinji and Misato getting on the elevator, no one says anything. Gendo doesn't break his stare. Misato doesn't break his stare. But Shinji turns away, and then Gendo closes the door to the elevator. Just
Yeah,
Gives him a big fat middle finger, basically, with his eyes.
I am not really sure what to make of. some real bad stuff happened here, folks. I don't know what to make of it. I think it's all bad.
I think what we can safely assume so far in these first 3 episodes is Gendo's a bad dad. Like, maybe even a worse dad than Goku.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
100%. Goku. Goku. Changing the group chat name to Goku. Goku he's not a great dad.
No.
But he's not like malevolent like this dad is. He's just,
He's an idiot. Goku's an idiot.
He's just
Gendo's
neglectful
malicious.
AF. He's not malicious. Still deeply problematic.
After they get to the part, where Shinji moves in with Misato, which is weird for a variety of reasons, because Misato
which happens right after the Gendo face-to-face incident on the elevator. Misato learns that he's going to be living by himself, and then she's like, actually, kid, you're going to come live with me.
All right, so as I said before, I watched this show as a teenager, and this show was made for my age bracket. I have always been uncomfortable with the low-key pedophile jokes that Misato always makes at the expense of Shinji. Because it's always like, she's like in canon like 30 or something, and Shinji's like 14. Like, alright, you need to calm down. Shinji can barely like talk for himself.
Yeah, it's
She even
vibes.
when she announces on the phone that Shinji is moving in with her, she makes a joke about not getting fresh with him.
Yeah, she's like, I won't make a pass at him. Like, what? No one assumed that stuff.
Everyone is keeps giving me weird looks about my I know I haven't sex trafficked anybody t-shirt that are and asking me questions about things that are already answered by my t-shirt. And it's got a little bit of that vibe there, which is not great. -1 for Miss.
Minus several.
She's still very cool.
Yeah, she's a cool character. She needs to stop.
She's super cool.
Stop trying to F Shinji. Stop it. Anyways, just to move on, we learn that there's such a neural connection in episode 2 between the Eva and the pilot that when the angel not breaks, literally destroys, and it's hanging on by threads, Unit 01's arm, Shinji feels that, and to him, that was his arm that's destroyed. When the Eva gets his eye blasted out and he has basically a beam of light through his brain, Shinji feels that, and he goes comatose inside the Eva. They lose signs of him.
Was like, yeah, that's like that stuff was like, it was really well done too, because like you look at his, like, he like looks at his arm, and it doesn't like his, like, Shinji's arm like doesn't do anything weird, but like they set it up really well to like, they cut to the exact moment, like the Eva, like the exact moment you see like the Eva arm break, it goes right to his arm, and you like, he's fine, but you know that deep like mentally, like, this is really bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's why that's why episode 2 is so great, because it was just like, oh, how bad was this? Was this bad?
Was it? Yeah. Did we lose already?
And then you learn that it's just like he destroyed that thing. Oh yeah, my god!
While like, he's comatose, the Eva goes what they call berserk, and it opens its mouth. It has teeth.
It's just like rips open the field. It's like surprise.
Yeah.
It goes nuts, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. So in the second episode, we learned that while there is some sort of control over the Evas, there's the potentiality to lose control. And there's a point where the Eva can go berserk.
Because it's a big dude. It's a thing. It's a living thing. Ooh.
But we also learned that there's a threat of some neural contamination or bleeding, where they kind of ask if Shinji has had some sort of, and they just kind of touch on it briefly, but that there's a potential for some neural contamination from interfacing with the Eva. I forget there's something that happened, and they're like, could it be? And they're like, no, it's fine. He's tested, he's cleared, but
some sort of like angel toxification, because they're all when they're cleaning up the remains of the angel. By the way, the angel when Shinji and Eva Unit 01 go berserk and they just beat the hell out of the angel, knowing it's going to lose, it wraps itself around Unit 01 and just explodes. But they're afraid like Shinji will be contaminated from being too close to an angel. We, the audience, don't know what an angel is, but they're afraid that humans getting too close to it is a bad. Like, unprotected.
That's fair.
One thing we kind of missed in the middle of this that I like every time I've seen this show is after Misato decides to take Shinji in with him. They go on a little drive before we get the great scene in Misato's apartment of Shinji getting to watch Tokyo 3 emerge from the ground.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty cool,
super cool,
like, display of the technology of this world, and just a really cool scene to watch this entire skyscraper scape raise from the ground and go from something that was basically this seemingly empty and barren small city to this giant metropolis, which they reveal is named Tokyo 3. So maybe some implications there, not sure.
Mike, it's called Tokyo 3. I need you to know this.
I wanted to ask about that because,
and I'm not gonna tell you anything.
because they're like, oh, and this because going into episode 3 when we kind of get some hints at this backstory here, it's like, and there was a giant meteor that hit and it instantly obliterated the Antarctic continent and killed a bunch of life. And that was what we call the second impact. I was like, wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
But that was the...
Psst, psst.
If this is...
Pen the penguin.
Tokyo 3.
Pen is the last penguin. I need you to know this as well.
He's like, wait.
I need you to take in these details.
This is Tokyo 3.
Yeah.
The most recent thing we're talking about in school is the second impact.
Yeah.
What happened to Tokyo 1? And I don't know if that is going to get answered. We kind of touched on it, but I have a feeling that I don't know if that lines up with what the weird color council is doing.
The thing about this series is very rarely will they, and this is just to keep you in mind for like small details, very rarely will they give you like the answer to the question is B. Just right in just circle B.
Okay, like no big info dump. I'm okay with that. Sounds great, honestly.
Yeah, they want you to pick up the details of like if the kid in the third episode when Shinji goes to school, if the kids are learning about second impact that happened, they say 14 years ago. By the way, Shinji's age, they say it a couple times, is 14. If Pen is one of the last penguins in the world, and that was so important that Misato had to keep one, and she keeps it in her fridge, which is
in her fridge. It's so cool. Not the beer fridge though. It's the other. Fridge.
No. The beer fridge is sacred. That's where the malt liquor is kept.
It's great. What a queen.
She is.
What an icon.
She is a queen. And if there have been 3 Tokyos, and if they've gotten to the point where they invented a new bomb technology because they can no longer irradiate the Earth, that's not an option anymore. And then there are creatures coming from the sky called angels, and then there's an organization with the subtitle "God is in His heaven." The world is at peace.
Folks, I have reservations. Not sure what to make of that. But yeah, real quick in the episode 3, I loved I like the scene where it's like they were messaging him on his laptop. It's like, hey, are you the Robo Kid? And he's like, maybe. And then, like, the entire class instantly is like, "Whoa, my God, it's Shinji, you're the robot guy. That's so cool. Can you tell us about the robot? Is it big? Does it go fast? What's it like, the robot?"
Yeah,
Great.
honestly, it's kind of surprising to see him, especially given his disdain and discomfort with everything so far, to just openly admit it in his class, like, yeah, it's me.
Ever since I was a kid, I found that weird that was open information. Isn't he literally the most important entity in the world right now? Why is he going to public school? Like, no, I'm sorry, you don't leave this facility.
Because storytelling.
Oh, that's a good answer.
You cannot
immediately gets owned by a bully.
Ray, you cannot have teen drama unless there are teens to have drama with.
No, you're both right. You have to go ahead. This isn't anime. We have to go ahead and get some Japanese high school antics in here. I don't know why. Oh my gosh, I just noticed in episode 3, they have a shot of the manga Hamtaro. I just noticed that for the first time in decades. That's adorable. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyways. But it seemed weird to me that they would put him in this bad situation. They bring it up in episode 3. They're like, is it safe that he's going to a school where someone clearly has a chip on his shoulder and just wants to beat the F out of him? They're like, 1, we already sent Ray there. And someone brings up, that raises other questions. And 2, he is surrounded by, like, nerve secret security at all times. He's in no real danger, they say. So that I'm willing to kind of give that a pass, slightly.
But yeah, then, like, so he gets, kind of bullied here, justifiably so. Well, maybe not. I don't know.
It's because,
but then, like, I think that one of my favorite things in this episode is when, like, because, like, another angel starts to attack the city, gets in the robot, and the thing called, like, the umbilical power cord, deeply concerning name. They're just like, oh yeah, it's the umbilical power cord. I'm just like, man, you guys gotta stop doing this, please. I beg you.
There's subtext, and then there's just trust.
Yeah, there's just capital T, capital EXT text.
Like, it should just be, like, important that, these robots have to consume a lot of energy, and they haven't really figured out power delivery besides, hey, it has to be tethered, so it has to be in a short range, and it only has 5 minutes. But it's like, no, that thing's called the umbilical power supply. Like,
I think that's really smart. That in a sci-fi perspective, they're like, these massive biomechanical things use so much energy, as they should, because they're like several 100 feet tall, that they require an external power source. And if that gets cut, they literally have 5 minutes of reserve power the moment it's cut. I think that's really smart. I think that's cool storytelling from a sci-fi perspective.
I think it is cool because then as they use in this episode, it's like dramatic when like the timer's going down to 0, and Shinji's like fighting, and it's like they're like, and then like, well, because like the kid who bullied him, and then like the other friend nerd kid, whatever his name is, like some in anime fashion, end up in the right place at the right time. For them to like retreat for safety, retreat into the Ava, and see Shinji like in the cockpit like fighting this thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this is actually horrifying, because Shinji is like, ah.
Yeah.
But it's not like a cool dramatic like It's not like a cool dramatic like sexy ha.
No.
This is
like
not a. This is not a.
It's like
this is not a bad boy scream. This is a primal, guttural, like fearful, rage-filled, just
This is a teenage boy who's been shy his entire life, that obviously has some serious daddy issues, that is being told to save the world again. Not this is this first rodeo. Do it again, and if you fail, that's it. The world will be destroyed. That's so deep on this huge meta level.
And like, I thought it was cool because it's, I mean, like, I don't think Evangelion stands alone in this. I haven't watched a lot of other mecha anime, but it was a very good like invocation of the war is not glorious or everything it's cracked up to be. It is bad and damages people, and even if you come out alive, you are changed forever. And I think that because it wasn't even like a Goku like Kamehameha yell. It was like uncomfortable, and it lasted like a long time. And it was like, oh,
I hate how Toji
kid. Oh, this is so bad. Oh no, I can't believe they're asking you to do this. Oh no. And he does it, and they save the day, but it's just like, shit. This is bad.
With just a few seconds left and an external power having completely shut the orders that he had been given, pulls out his knife and ends the fourth angel.
They have this really cool but stupid sci-fi explanation for how the progressive knife works. It uses ultrasonic vibrations so that when it's stabbing something, it gets progressively sharper. Now, can someone explain that to me?
Nope.
I've never understood that. Like, no,
well, you see,
that's
when
not how
it's
physics
inside
works.
and then vibrates, it's micro rubbing against the surface that it's stabbing, making the surface sharper, making it stabber even more.
Make stabber even more. Josh, 2019.
Well, it's just you're just sharpening the knife against the thing you're stabbing.
I mean, what you just said is right.
level.
That's supposed to be how it works. You're sharpening the knife against the thing that you're stabbing. That's how the progressive knife works.
Ray.
And that's ridiculous when you say it out loud.
It's the perfect crime.
But so one thing, and I don't know if I stepped away for a second. I don't know if we talked about it, but one thing we really take away from this episode is, we learned about the second impact. We learned that this is the fourth angel that we have seen. This one waited 3 weeks. The last one we had a 15-year gap. So obviously, the
something has changed.
Something has changed
very quick.
And the rate of attack of these angels, of which so far of the two that we've seen, we know are different creatures or look different with at least one similarity between them, have increased their attack time frame.
Yeah.
Decreased.
I guess. Yeah. I that was like another kind of. I don't know how much more longer we want to go, because I think I'm kind of running out of things to mention here. But like, that was another disconcerting thing. It's just like how, like, 15 years to 3 weeks is a big jump, and I have a feeling it will only scale from there.
And it already kind of seems like humanity's best hope is already kind of running on fumes, because things are not necessarily going super great.
It's like, well, this kid barely knows up from down and has severe daddy issues. The other lady is still in the hospital. Okay, well, not anymore, but she's like still in a cast.
She's still broken.
So please don't put her in
we
the
also
robot.
just saw the Ava get 2 holes blasted through its stomach, and then one through its head. So like, what's going on?
Yeah, I guess if it works with you guys, just kind of closing notes here. I'm really sold on this show.
Good! I'm glad, actually. You gave it the 3-episode test.
Yeah, I am very curious to see where they go. I'm very curious to learn why that thing has big fingernails and real hands. And I am...
I love how the juxtaposition of it having fingernails sent you for a loop, because it sent me for a loop too when I was really young. I'm like, ah! Why is that there?
That should be Sparks. That should just be Sparks' an empty metal hand. Why is there a real hand? Is anyone else seeing? Is anyone else seeing this? Hello? Hello?
It's the fact that they're actually fingernails that is kind of like uncanny
That's what
valley.
fucked me up.
Yeah.
Like the eyeball in episode 2, I was like, okay, that's not great. Not great.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it. Fingernails, I'm like, okay.
Okay,
You
that's...
don't like it. You don't like. I could see something and I was like, oh, we transplanted a real eyeball because that's the only thing that would work to like organically grow a big eyeball for this robot. But like a fucking fingernail, see, I have questions.
You notice that over 3 episodes, it has regenerative capabilities, very high regenerative capabilities. Like, it regrew the part of its head and eye that it was missing within an hour.
I have a really bad feeling about this. Don't say anything.
No, of course not.
I have a feeling that the Ava and the Angels are not that different. That's gonna be my theory. That's my theory.
I cannot wait until you get to episode 15. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. There's no reason why it's episode 15. I'm picking a number out of the air, but by then you're going to be asking so many more questions, and you'll do a bit of a freak out.
I'm like excited. That's why I'm really excited for this because I'm excited to see where they go with the big capital P plot questions. But I'm also really into just the character stuff they're doing right now too. So.
Yeah, that is one thing that so far, and I as far as I remember throughout the whole show, they do a really good job of having both really interesting character moments and character development and side stories, and then just the all overarching what is happening in this world that are so engaging and very thought provoking throughout. So we got a lot of show ahead of us, and I think it'll be really fun to watch you watching this for the first time.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, well, I am looking forward to that.
Well, fellas...
But to make sure that you can keep up with our takes as we go through, make sure you follow us on Facebook. Look at us up at Unscripted Gaming. You can follow us on Twitter at unscript_gaming. Get us here on YouTube at Unscript Podcast. You can get us in your ears at Pocket Cast, Apple Tunes, iTunes, Google Play Music, anywhere where your podcatchers, you can get us in your ears. Just make sure you smash that subscribe button so you can keep current with us as we get ready to watch episodes 4, 5, and 6 on our next episode of Postscript Evangelion. But thanks for listening. I'm Josh.
I'm Mike.
I'm Ray.
Peace.